good.
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
Aren't packed yet?
I'm the worst!
Overreact.
Ellie's new emotions. Wow!
Remember when we all finally came up?
Can you hear me? I gotta press the button. Go for joy. Copy that. Over. Oh, I love it.
Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2.
Artist My Diaris's Adèle new emotions, bigger challenges, and a teenage mind more unpredictable than ever. Riley's growing up, and so is the chaos inside her head. Get ready for laughter, tears, and heartfelt moments that hit home. This is Cinema Reviews, and today we dive into Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is a 2024 American animated coming-of-age film from Pixar Animation Studios, released by Walt Disney Pictures, serving as the sequel to Inside Out, 2015. The film marks Kelsey Mann's feature directorial debut, with production by Mark Nielsen. The screenplay was written by Meg LeFleur and Dave Holstein, based on a story developed by Mann and LeFleur. Returning voice actors include Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Louis Black, Diane Lane, and Kyle MacLachlan, while Maya Hawke, Kensington Ullman, taking over Riley's role, Liza Lapira, Tony Hale, Ayo Edebiri, Lilimer, Grace Liu, Suminir Iden Green, Adèle Exarchopoulos, and Paul Walter Hauser join the cast. The story centers on Riley's emotions as they are suddenly joined by new ones, including anxiety, who attempts to take charge of her mind. Work on the sequel began in early 2020, with Mann drawing inspiration from his own childhood. The team experimented with a wide range of new emotions before streamlining the narrative, ultimately spotlighting anxiety as a major force. Psychologists Lisa DeMoore and Asher Keltner were consulted to portray adolescence authentically, and real teenagers were invited to provide input on the story and characters. During development, the premise shifted from a talent show to Riley's focus on hockey. The project also became notable for being Pixar's first feature film scored by a woman, Andrea Datzman. Technical innovations included isometric mapping to maintain spatial consistency within the animated world. Casting changes occurred partly due to pay disputes, leading to new voices for fear and disgust. The film premiered at Hollywood's El Capitan Theater on June 10, 2024, and was released nationwide on June 14. Inside Out 2 earned widespread critical praise and became a box office sensation, grossing $1.699 billion worldwide. It broke several records, including becoming Pixar's highest-grossing release and the highest-grossing animated film ever at the time, before being surpassed by Knees At 2 in 2025. It finished as the top-grossing movie of 2024 and briefly held a spot among the 10 highest-grossing films in history. The film received award nominations across major ceremonies, including the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, BAFTAs, and the Academy Awards, with additional recognition for cinematic and box office achievement. 2 years after moving to San Francisco, 13-year-old Riley Anderson is about to begin high school. Inside her mind, joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger now oversee a new mental construct called the sense of self, a core space that shapes Riley's beliefs and identity. Joy tries to ensure only positive memories reach it by launching unpleasant ones to the back of Riley's mind. Riley and her best friends, Bree and Grace, are invited to a 3-day hockey camp, where Riley hopes to earn a spot on her future school's team, the Firehawks. The night before camp, the puberty alarm goes off, prompting mind workers to update the control console. Their upgrade leaves headquarters unstable, making Riley overly reactive to every emotional input. Soon after, 4 new emotions: anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and annoyance arrive and clash with the originals. Joy wants Riley to enjoy the camp, while anxiety insists she must focus on fitting in and securing her place on the team, especially since Bree and Grace will attend a different school. At camp, Joy's optimism backfires when Riley gets into trouble with Coach Roberts. Anxiety takes control, deciding Riley needs to reinvent herself to be accepted by the older players. She sends Riley's existing sense of self into the memory vault and locks the original emotions away, creating a new self built around fear and pressure. Under her influence, Riley gravitates towards star player Val Ortiz, damaging her bond with Bree and Grace. The original emotions eventually escape. Joy sends sadness back to headquarters with a two-way radio while she, fear, anger, and disgust set out to recover Riley's true sense of self. Sadness is aided by embarrassment, who secretly helps her hide. Meanwhile, Riley discovers and Coach Roberts notes that she isn't yet considered ready for the Firehawks, which fuels her self-doubt. Joy and the others locate the original sense of self buried under discarded memories but are stranded when anxiety sabotages their return path. In despair, Joy realizes she doesn't know how to save Riley. They then use a risky plan of detonating the bad memories so they flood the belief pool, riding the wave back to headquarters. By now, anxiety sees that her plan has failed. Riley's new identity is built entirely on insecurity, leaving her struggling in tryouts, accidentally injuring Grace, and ending up in the penalty box. Overwhelmed, anxiety loses control at the console, triggering Riley's first panic attack. When Joy returns, she finds anxiety frozen by guilt. Joy reassures her that Riley doesn't need to change who she is to succeed. Anxiety admits her mistake, realizing that none of the emotions can dictate Riley's identity. Joy accepts this truth and removes Riley's unstable sense of self, allowing a new one to form, a balanced with both good and bad memories. Riley calms down, makes peace with Bree and Grace, and finishes her tryout with renewed confidence. In the end, Riley strengthens her friendship with Bree and Grace while also befriending Val and the other Firehawks. Now guided by 9 emotions working in harmony, she faces high school with optimism, balance, and a stronger sense of who she truly is. The Emotional Ensemble, a deep dive into Inside Out 2's star-studded casting when Pixar announced the long-awaited sequel to their critically acclaimed 2015 film Inside Out. Fans around the world held their breath. The original film had set an incredibly high bar, not only in terms of storytelling and animation but also through its exceptional voice cast that brought Riley's emotions to life with remarkable depth and authenticity. As Inside Out 2 prepared to explore the tumultuous landscape of teenage emotions, The casting decisions would prove to be crucial in maintaining the franchise's emotional resonance while introducing new complexities that come with adolescence. The casting of Inside Out 2 represents a masterful blend of returning beloved performers and fresh talent, creating a voice ensemble that captures both the familiar comfort of childhood emotions and the chaotic energy of teenage anxiety. This comprehensive examination delves into every aspect of the film's casting choices, from the strategic decisions behind recasting certain roles to the inspired selections of new voice actors who would bring Riley's expanding emotional world to life. The Foundation, returning cast members who anchored the sequel. Amy Poehler returns as Joy, the heart of the franchise. Amy Poehler reprises her role as Joy, the brightest and cheeriest of Riley's emotions and the regarded leader of the group of emotions. Her return was perhaps the most crucial casting decision for the sequel, as Joy serves as the emotional anchor of the entire franchise. Poehler's performance in the original film had established Joy as more than just happiness personified. She was a complex character struggling with control, perfectionism, and the difficulty of accepting that other emotions have value too. In Inside Out 2, Poehler's Joy faces new challenges as Riley enters her teenage years. The character must navigate the introduction of new emotions while maintaining her leadership role in an increasingly complex emotional landscape. Poehler's natural comedic timing, honed through years on Saturday Night Live in Parks and Recreation, provides the perfect foundation for Joy's continued evolution. Her ability to convey both infectious optimism and underlying vulnerability makes her portrayal of Joy both relatable and aspirational. The decision to bring Poehler back was never in question for the filmmakers. Her distinctive voice had become synonymous with Joy, and her understanding of the character's nuances was irreplaceable. In interviews, Poehler has expressed her deep connection to the role and her excitement about exploring Joy's growth as Riley matures. Her performance in the sequel demonstrates a masterful understanding of how Joy must adapt while maintaining her core essence. Phyllis Smith's Sadness. The emotional wisdom continues. Phyllis Smith reprises her role as Sadness, bringing back the character who arguably underwent the most significant development in the original film. Smith's portrayal of Sadness transformed the emotion from what could have been a one-dimensional character into the heart and soul of the first film's emotional journey. Her gentle, empathetic delivery and innate understanding of melancholy made Sadness not just acceptable but essential to Riley's emotional well-being. In the sequel, Smith's Sadness takes on an even more important role as Riley faces the challenges of adolescence. The character's wisdom about the necessity of sad emotions becomes crucial as new, more complex emotions enter the picture. Smith's background as a former cheerleader-turned-comedian brings a unique perspective to the role as she understands both the pressure to maintain positivity and the importance of acknowledging difficult feelings. The consistency of Smith's performance across both films provides a sense of emotional continuity that grounds the sequel. Her sadness serves as a bridge between Riley's childhood and teenage years, offering wisdom gleaned from the experiences of the first film while remaining open to new emotional complexities. Lewis Black's Anger. Explosive energy for teenage years. Lewis Black returns as Anger, a casting choice that was inspired in the original and proves even more brilliant in the sequel. Black's career as a stand-up comedian known for his explosive, indignant trance made him the perfect voice for Riley's Anger. His distinctive delivery style, building from a simmer to a full boil, captures the essence of how anger actually manifests in both children and teenagers. For Inside Out 2, Black's anger faces new challenges as Riley's teenage emotions become more complex and intense. The character must deal not only with typical adolescent frustrations but also with the introduction of new emotions like anxiety that can amplify angry responses. Black's performance captures both the familiar explosive nature of childhood anger and the more sophisticated frustrations that come with teenage life. Black's understanding of timing and escalation serves the character particularly well in the sequel. His ability to build comedic tension through vocal performance translates perfectly to the animated medium, where facial expressions and physical comedy must be conveyed entirely through voice acting. The consistency of his performance helps maintain the character's authenticity while allowing for growth and development. The challenge of recasting new voices for familiar emotions. One of the most significant challenges facing Inside Out 2 was the need to recast two beloved characters, Fear and Disgust. Tony Hale replaces Bill Hader for Fear, and Liza Lapira replaces Minty Kaling for Disgust. These recasting decisions were necessitated by scheduling conflicts and other commitments, but they presented both opportunities and challenges for the sequel. Tony Hale as Fear, bringing neurotic energy to new heights. Tony Hale voices Fear, taking over from Bill Hader's memorable performance in the original film. Hale, best known for his roles in Arrested Development and Veep, brings his own brand of neurotic energy to the character. His experience playing anxious, high-strung characters translates perfectly to Fear's role in Riley's emotional ecosystem. Hale's approach to Fear maintains the character's core identity while bringing subtle new dimensions to the role. His vocal performance captures Fear's paranoid tendencies and worst-case scenario thinking while adding his own comedic sensibilities. The casting choice proved particularly astute given the sequel's focus on anxiety and worry, emotions that intersect closely with fear in the teenage experience. The transition from Hader to Hale was handled carefully by the voice directors, ensuring that the character's essential nature remained intact while allowing for natural evolution. Hale's performance demonstrates respect for Hader's original interpretation while establishing his own connection to the character. His background in improvisation and character comedy provides Fear with new layers of humor and relatability. Liza Lapira as Disgust. Sophisticated disdain for the digital age. Liza Lapira voices Disgust, stepping into the role previously held by Minty Kaling. Lapira, known for her work in The Equalizer and 9JKL, brings a sophisticated edge to Disgust that proves perfect for Riley's teenage years. Her performance captures the character's snobbish tendencies while adding new dimensions appropriate for adolescent social dynamics. Lapira's Disgust must navigate not just physical disgust but also the complex social disgust that comes with teenage judgment and peer pressure. Her vocal performance captures the eye-rolling, sophisticated disdain that characterizes teenage reactions to anything deemed uncool or inappropriate. The casting choice reflects an understanding of how disgust evolves from childhood to adolescence, becoming more nuanced and socially complex. The actress brings her own comedic timing and delivery style to the role while maintaining the character's essential function within Riley's emotional team. Her performance demonstrates how disgust can be both protective and limiting, helping Riley avoid genuinely harmful situations while sometimes creating unnecessary social barriers. The new emotional landscape. Introducing teen emotions. The most exciting aspect of Inside Out 2's casting was the introduction of new emotions that reflect the complexity of teenage life. These new characters required actors who could capture the specific qualities of adolescent emotional experiences while integrating seamlessly with the established cast. Maya Hawke as Anxiety. The scene-stealing newcomer Maya Hawke voices Anxiety, perhaps the most significant new addition to Riley's emotional roster. As the most controlling of the new emotions, Anxiety serves as a central figure in the sequel's exploration of teenage mental health. Hawke's casting represents a perfect convergence of talent, generational relevance, and understanding of Anxiety's role in modern teenage life. Hawke, daughter of actors Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, brings both Hollywood pedigree and millennial authenticity to the role. Her breakout performance as Robin in Stranger Things demonstrated her ability to portray complex, layered characters who resonate with young audiences. Her musical career and artistic sensibilities add depth to her understanding of creative anxiety and perfectionism. In Inside Out 2, Hawke's Anxiety is portrayed as well-meaning but overwhelming, desperately trying to help Riley navigate the complexities of teenage social situations and future planning. Hawke's performance captures the way anxiety can masquerade as helpfulness while actually creating more stress and confusion. Her vocal work demonstrates the exhausting nature of anxious thought patterns while maintaining the character's sympathetic qualities. The character of Anxiety allows the film to address mental health topics that are particularly relevant to contemporary teenagers. Hawke's performance avoids stigmatizing anxiety while honestly portraying its challenges. Her understanding of how anxiety affects creative and social development adds authenticity to the character's interactions with both old and new emotions. Ayo Edebiri as Anve, millennial perspective on comparison culture. Ayo Edebiri rejoins the cast as Anve, bringing her distinctive comedic voice to one of Riley's new teenage emotions. But Beery, known for her work on The Bear and Big Mouth, represents the perfect casting choice for an emotion that has become increasingly complex in the social media age. But Beery's background in both traditional comedy and contemporary digital culture makes her particularly suited to voice envy in a modern context. Her work on Big Mouth already demonstrated her ability to voice animated characters dealing with adolescent emotions and social pressures. Her stand-up comedy background provides her with the timing and observational skills necessary to make Envy both funny and poignant. The character of Envy in Inside Out 2 reflects how comparison culture has evolved in the digital age. But Beery's performance captures the way teenagers constantly measure themselves against their peers, both in person and through social media. Her vocal work demonstrates how envy can drive both negative self-perception and motivation for improvement, making the emotion complex rather than simply villainous. But Beery's casting also reflects the film's commitment to diversity and contemporary relevance. Her presence in the voice cast helps ensure that the film's emotional landscape reflects the experiences of modern teenagers from various backgrounds and perspectives. Paul Walter Hauser as Embarrassment, physical comedy through voice. Paul Walter Hauser joins the cast as Embarrassment, a character that requires both physical and vocal comedy skills. Hauser, known for his roles in I, Tonya and Richard Jewell, brings unexpected depth to what could have been a simple comedic role. Hauser's background in both comedy and drama makes him uniquely qualified to voice Embarrassment. His understanding of how shame and embarrassment function in real life, both as protective mechanisms and sources of genuine pain, adds layers to the character that go beyond simple humor. His performance captures the way embarrassment can be both crippling and motivating for teenagers. The character of Embarrassment allows the film to explore the heightened self-consciousness that characterizes teenage experience. Hauser's vocal performance demonstrates how embarrassment can make teenagers feel like everyone is watching and judging them, even in mundane situations. His work shows how this emotion can both protect teenagers from genuinely risky behavior and prevent them from taking healthy social risks. Hauser's casting represents the film's commitment to finding actors who understand the deeper psychological functions of emotions rather than simply their surface presentations. His performance makes Embarrassment a character worthy of empathy while acknowledging the genuine challenges this emotion can create. Adèle Exarchopoulos as Ennui, International Perspective and Teenage Malaise. Adèle Exarchopoulos joins the cast as Ennui, bringing an international perspective to Riley's emotional landscape. The French actress, known for her acclaimed performance in Blue is the Warmest Color, provides a sophisticated interpretation of teenage boredom and disillusionment. Exarchopoulos' casting as Ennui reflects the film's understanding that teenage emotions often have cultural and philosophical dimensions. Her French background brings authenticity to the concept of ennui, which has specific connotations in French culture that go beyond simple boredom. Her performance captures the existential questioning and sophisticated dissatisfaction that can characterize teenage intellectual development. The character of Ennui allows the film to explore the way teenagers begin to question meaning and purpose in their lives. Exarchopoulos' vocal work demonstrates how this emotion can lead to both creative insights and paralyzing indecision. Her performance shows how ennui can be both a sign of intellectual growth and a barrier to engagement with life. The international casting choice also reflects Pixar's global perspective and commitment to representing diverse approaches to emotional experience. Exarchopoulos' performance adds cultural depth to the film's exploration of universal teenage emotions. Supporting cast: the world around Riley beyond the emotions themselves. Inside Out 2 features a supporting cast that helps create the world in which Riley's emotional journey unfolds. These casting choices reflect careful attention to creating authentic teenage environments and relationships. Kensington Tallman as teenage Riley. Growing up on screen, Kensington Tallman replaces Caitlin Dawes as Riley, taking over the role of the film's human protagonist as she enters her teenage years. This recasting was necessitated by Dawes aging out of the role, but it also provided an opportunity to bring fresh energy to Riley's character as she faces new challenges. Tallman's casting represents careful attention to finding a voice that could authentically represent contemporary teenage experience. Her vocal work captures the way teenagers navigate between childhood and adulthood, sometimes feeling mature and confident while other times seeming vulnerable and uncertain. Her performance grounds the emotional journey in realistic teenage behavior and speech patterns. The transition between voice actors for Riley was handled with particular care, as the character serves as the anchor point for all the emotional action in the film. Tallman's performance maintains continuity with the established character while allowing for natural growth and development appropriate to Riley's age. Diane Lane and Kyle MacLachlan. Parental continuity. Diane Lane and Kyle MacLachlan reprise their roles as Riley's parents, providing crucial continuity and stability as Riley's world becomes more complex. Their return helps maintain the family dynamic established in the original film while allowing for exploration of how parent-child relationships evolve during adolescence. Lane's performance as Riley's mother demonstrates the challenges parents face when their children become teenagers. Her vocal work captures the balance between wanting to protect Riley and recognizing her need for independence. The actress brings her extensive experience with both comedic and dramatic roles to create a realistic portrayal of motherhood during the teenage years. MacLachlan's return as Riley's father provides a male perspective on parenting teenagers while maintaining the character's established personality traits. His performance captures the way fathers might struggle to connect with their teenage daughters while trying to remain supportive and present. The continuity provided by these returning cast members helps anchor the sequel in familiar relationships while allowing for realistic growth and development in family dynamics. June Squibb as Nostalgia. Veteran presence. June Squibb joins the cast as Nostalgia, bringing veteran acting experience to one of the film's most poignant new characters. Squibb's casting represents a perfect match between actor and character, as her real-life experience and wisdom inform her portrayal of an emotion associated with memory and longing. Squibb's performance as Nostalgia demonstrates how memory and sentimentality function in teenage emotional development. Her vocal work captures both the comfort that nostalgic memories can provide and the way they can sometimes prevent forward progress. The character allows the film to explore how teenagers begin to develop more complex relationships with their past experiences. The casting of Squibb also reflects the film's commitment to intergenerational casting, bringing together voice actors from different generations to create a rich tapestry of perspectives on emotional experience. The casting process. Behind-the-scenes decisions. The casting process for Inside Out 2 involved complex considerations about maintaining continuity with the original while introducing new elements appropriate for teenage emotional development. Director Kelsey Mann and the casting team faced the challenge of finding actors who could work within the established emotional framework while bringing fresh perspectives to new characters. Balancing continuity and innovation. The decision about which original cast members to bring back involved careful consideration of availability, vocal aging, and character development needs. The filmmakers prioritized maintaining the core emotional relationships established in the first film while allowing for natural evolution in character dynamics. The recasting of Fear and Disgust required finding actors who could honor the original performances while bringing their own interpretations to the roles. The casting team looked for performers who understood the essential functions of these emotions while adding their own comedic sensibilities and personality traits. Chemistry and ensemble dynamics. The success of Inside Out 2's voice cast depends heavily on the chemistry between actors. Even though most voice recording is done separately, the casting team considered how new voices would blend with established performers and how the ensemble would function as an emotional unit. The introduction of new teenage emotions required finding actors who could create believable relationships with existing characters while establishing their own distinct personalities. The casting choices reflect understanding of how different emotions interact and influence each other in real psychological experience, cultural and generational relevance. The casting choices for new characters reflect attention to cultural and generational relevance. The filmmakers sought actors who understood contemporary teenage experience and could authentically represent the emotional challenges facing modern adolescents. The diversity of the cast. both in terms of background and artistic experience, helps ensure that the film's emotional landscape reflects the varied experiences of its audience. The casting choices demonstrate commitment to representing teenage emotional experience in all its complexity and diversity. Performance analysis: bringing emotions to life. The success of voice acting in animated films depends on actors' ability to convey emotion, personality, and character development through vocal performance alone. The cast of Inside Out 2 demonstrates exceptional skill in this specialized form of acting. Vocal characterization techniques: each cast member brings distinct vocal techniques to their roles, creating unique sonic signatures for their characters. The established cast members demonstrate consistency with their original performances while allowing for character growth and development. Amy Poehler's Joy maintains her characteristic brightness and energy while incorporating subtle changes that reflect Riley's maturation. Her vocal work demonstrates how Joy must adapt her leadership style to accommodate new emotions while maintaining her essential optimism. Maya Hawke's anxiety showcases the actress's range in creating a character that is both sympathetic and challenging. Her vocal performance captures the rapid-fire thought patterns and nervous energy that characterize anxiety while making the character likable rather than simply annoying. Emotional authenticity: the cast's ability to convey genuine emotional experience through their performances is crucial to the film's success. Each actor demonstrates understanding of their emotions' psychological function and social impact, creating performances that feel authentic rather than caricatured. The veteran cast members show deep understanding of their characters, while new cast members bring fresh perspectives that enhance the overall emotional ecosystem. The performances demonstrate how different emotions can be both helpful and problematic, creating a nuanced view of psychological experience. Comedy and drama balance: the cast successfully balances comedic and dramatic elements in their performances, creating characters that can be funny without undermining the genuine emotional stakes of Riley's journey. This balance is particularly important in a film that addresses serious topics like anxiety and teenage mental health. The comedic timing demonstrated by the cast helps make complex emotional concepts accessible to younger audiences while maintaining respect for the real challenges these emotions can create. The performances avoid minimizing or trivializing emotional experience while finding appropriate moments for humor and levity. Cultural impact and representation: the casting choices in Inside Out 2 reflect evolving approaches to representation and cultural sensitivity in animated films. The voice cast represents diverse backgrounds and perspectives, contributing to a more inclusive approach to storytelling about universal emotional experiences. Generational perspectives: the cast spans multiple generations, from veteran actors like June Squibb to younger performers like Maya Hawke and Ioan Beery. This generational diversity brings different perspectives on emotional experience and helps create a film that resonates across age groups. The younger cast members bring contemporary understanding of teenage challenges, including social media pressure, academic stress, and identity formation in a digital age. Their performances reflect current teenage emotional experiences while maintaining universal appeal. Cultural authenticity: the international casting of Adèle Exarchopoulos as Ennui demonstrates attention to cultural authenticity in representing different emotional concepts. Her French perspective on Ennui adds depth and sophistication to the character that might have been lost with a different casting choice. The diverse backgrounds of the cast help ensure that the film's emotional landscape reflects varied cultural approaches to understanding and expressing emotions. This diversity enhances the universality of the film's themes while respecting cultural specificity. Mental health representation: the casting choices, particularly for characters like anxiety, reflect increased awareness of mental health issues and the importance of accurate representation. The actors demonstrate understanding of the real psychological impacts of these emotions while avoiding stigmatization or oversimplification. The performances contribute to broader cultural conversations about teenage mental health, anxiety, and emotional development. The cast's approach helps normalize discussions about these topics while maintaining entertaining and accessible storytelling. Technical aspects of voice performance. Voice acting for animation requires specific technical skills that differ from live-action performance. The cast of Inside Out 2 demonstrates mastery of these specialized techniques while creating memorable and distinctive characters. Recording process and methodology. The voice recording process for animated films often involves actors working alone in recording booths, requiring them to create believable character interactions without the benefit of scene partners. The cast demonstrates exceptional skill in maintaining energy and authenticity in this isolated recording environment. The established cast members show consistency in their vocal characterizations while allowing for natural evolution in their performances. New cast members demonstrate quick adaptation to the technical requirements of animated voice work while establishing their own character identities. Vocal range and character development. Each cast member demonstrates impressive vocal range in creating distinct character voices that remain consistent throughout the film. The performances show how vocal choices can convey personality traits, emotional states, and character development arcs without visual cues. The contrast between different emotions is enhanced by the vocal choices made by each actor. The cast creates a sonic landscape that helps audiences immediately identify different emotions and understand their distinct personalities and functions. Integration with animation. The voice performances must integrate seamlessly with the film's animation, requiring careful attention to timing, pacing, and emotional beats. The cast demonstrates understanding of how their vocal performances will be interpreted and enhanced by the animators. The success of this integration is evident in the final film, where vocal performances and animation work together to create fully realized characters that feel both emotionally authentic and visually compelling. Critical reception and industry impact. The casting choices in Inside Out 2 have received widespread critical acclaim and have influenced industry discussions about voice acting, representation, and storytelling in animated films. Critical response to performances. Critics have praised the seamless integration of returning and new cast members, noting how the performances maintain continuity with the original while introducing fresh energy appropriate for the sequel's themes. The critical reception has highlighted particular performances, especially Maya Hawke's portrayal of anxiety. The critical response has emphasized how the casting choices support the film's deeper themes about mental health and emotional development. Critics have noted how the performances avoid stereotyping while creating memorable and relatable characters. Industry recognition. The voice cast's work has received recognition from industry organizations and has contributed to broader discussions about the art of voice acting. The performances have been cited as examples of how voice acting can contribute significantly to animated film success. The casting choices have influenced industry discussions about diversity, representation, and the importance of authentic casting in animated films dealing with contemporary social issues. Audience reception. Audience response to the cast has been overwhelmingly positive, with particular praise for how new cast members have integrated with beloved returning performers. Audiences have responded strongly to the authentic portrayal of teenage emotions and the relatable performances. The positive audience reception has contributed to the film's commercial success and has helped establish Inside Out 2 as a worthy successor to the original film. The cast's performances have been credited with helping audiences connect emotionally with the film's themes and characters. Future implications and legacy. The casting success of Inside Out 2 has implications for future animated films and the continued evolution of the Inside Out franchise. The performances have established new benchmarks for voice acting in animated films dealing with psychological and emotional themes. Franchise continuation. The successful integration of new cast members with returning performers suggests potential for continued franchise development. The casting choices have created a sustainable foundation for future films exploring different stages of emotional development. The performances have demonstrated how animated franchises can evolve and mature while maintaining their essential appeal and emotional authenticity. The cast's work provides a template for how to handle recasting and new character introduction in successful animated series. Industry standards. The casting approach taken by Inside Out 2 has set new standards for authenticity and cultural sensitivity in animated film casting. The success of the diverse cast has influenced industry discussions about representation and the importance of matching actors to characters based on understanding and authenticity rather than simply name recognition. The technical excellence demonstrated by the cast has contributed to elevated expectations for voice acting performance in animated films. The success has shown how strong voice acting can enhance animated storytelling and contribute to both critical and commercial success. Cultural legacy. The cast's portrayal of complex emotional themes has contributed to broader cultural conversations about mental health, emotional intelligence, and the challenges facing contemporary teenagers. The performances have helped normalize discussions about anxiety, emotional regulation, and psychological development. The cultural impact of the casting choices extends beyond the film itself, influencing how audiences think about emotions, mental health, and the importance of authentic representation in media. The cast's work has contributed to the film's role as both entertainment and educational tool. Conclusion: a masterclass in ensemble voice acting. The casting of Inside Out 2 represents a masterful blend of continuity and innovation, bringing together established performers with fresh talent to create an ensemble that serves both the story's emotional needs and the audience's entertainment desires. The success of these casting choices demonstrates the crucial role that voice acting plays in animated storytelling and shows how thoughtful casting can enhance both individual performances and overall narrative impact. From Amy Poehler's continued excellence as Joy to Maya Hawke's breakthrough performance as Anxiety, the cast demonstrates exceptional skill in bringing complex emotional concepts to life through vocal performance alone. The seamless integration of returning cast members with newcomers creates a believable emotional ecosystem that supports the film's exploration of teenage psychological development. The casting choices reflect broader industry trends toward authenticity, diversity, and cultural sensitivity while maintaining the entertainment value and emotional resonance that made the original film successful. The performances contribute to important cultural conversations about mental health and emotional development while providing engaging and memorable entertainment. The success of Inside Out 2's casting provides a template for future animated films dealing with complex psychological and social themes. The performances demonstrate how voice acting can contribute significantly to both critical acclaim and commercial success while serving important educational and cultural functions. As audiences continue to respond positively to the film and its performances, the casting legacy of Inside Out 2 will likely influence animated filmmaking for years to come. The cast's work represents not just successful entertainment but a meaningful contribution to how we understand and discuss emotional experience in contemporary culture. The ensemble work demonstrated in Inside Out 2 proves that animated films can tackle serious themes while maintaining broad appeal, and that thoughtful casting choices can enhance both individual character development and overall narrative impact. The success of these performances ensures that the emotional journey of Riley and her feelings will continue to resonate with audiences across generations, establishing Inside Out 2 as both worthy successor to the original and important cultural artifact in its own right. Through their exceptional performances, the cast of Inside Out 2 has created something more than entertainment. They have contributed to a cultural conversation about emotional health, adolescent development, and the importance of understanding and accepting the full range of human emotional experience. Their work stands as a testament to the power of voice acting to create meaningful connections between audiences and animated characters, proving once again that the best animated films succeed not just through technical excellence but through genuine emotional authenticity brought to life by talented performers who understand their craft and their responsibility to their audience. Inside Out 2, 2024, a comprehensive analysis of Pixar's emotional masterpiece Introduction. Inside Out 2 stands as one of the most significant animated films of 2024, representing not just a sequel to Pixar's beloved 2015 original, but a groundbreaking achievement in both emotional storytelling and box office success. This American animated coming-of-age film, produced by Pixar Animation Studios for Walt Disney Pictures, managed to capture the complex emotional landscape of adolescence while breaking multiple box office records and setting new standards for animated filmmaking. The film's journey from concept to screen represents a remarkable achievement in collaborative filmmaking, featuring the directorial debut of Kelsey Mann, who took over from Pete Docter, the director of the original film, with Amy Poehler returning as Joy and a stellar cast including Maya Hawke as the new emotion anxiety. The film explores the turbulent world of teenage emotions as 13-year-old Riley navigates the challenging transition from childhood to adolescence. What makes Inside Out 2 particularly noteworthy is its ability to expand upon the original's psychological concepts while introducing new emotional complexities that resonate with audiences of all ages. The film grossed an unprecedented $1.699 billion worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing animated film of all time, until February 2025, and demonstrating that audiences' hunger for intelligent, emotionally rich animated content. Production development and pre-production. The genesis of Inside Out 2 can be traced back to the immediate success of its predecessor. After the critical and commercial triumph of the original Inside Out in 2015, Entertainment Tonight and The Guardian considered a sequel to be inevitable. Pete Docter, the director of the first film, was already germinating ideas for a potential sequel while the original film's Academy Award nominations were being unveiled in January 2016. However, the formal development process for Inside Out 2 didn't begin until January 2020, marking a 5-year gap that allowed the creative team to carefully consider how to expand the emotional universe they had created. The catalyst for the sequel came when director Kelsey Mann revisited photos of one of his childhood birthday parties, sparking memories and insights about the transition from childhood to adolescence that would become central to the film's narrative. The development process was notably influenced by the unique circumstances of 2020, as the team began crafting the story during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. This period of isolation and reflection proved beneficial for Nielsen and Mann, who were able to gather personal research by observing their own children, some of whom were Riley's age in the film. Their perspective as parents helped shape the film's emotional authenticity, particularly in characterizing Joy and her evolving understanding of Riley's emotional needs. To ensure the film accurately portrayed modern teenage life, Pixar enlisted a group of 9 teenagers dubbed Riley's Crew to provide ongoing feedback throughout development. This innovative approach to consultation ensured that the film's portrayal of adolescence felt authentic and current. The teenagers' input led to significant story elements, including the inclusion of nostalgia as an emotion, and influenced various scenes depicting the transition from middle school to high school. Mann utilized Pete Docter's 5 to 27 emotions concept from the original film, which Docter had pitched during the first film's production but hadn't fully explored. This became the foundation for introducing new emotions while maintaining what Mann called truthful world building. The creative team's first pass included 9 new emotions to make Joy feel overwhelmed, but after initial screenings, they realized this was too many for the narrative to handle effectively. The emotional roster was carefully curated through collaboration with clinical psychologist Lisa DeMoore and University of California, Berkeley psychology professor Dr. Keltner, who had also consulted on this first film. Keltner played a crucial role in selecting which emotions should be introduced, ensuring psychological accuracy. Notably, a character based on shame was initially planned but was ultimately removed, partly due to Keltner's argument that shame wasn't technically an emotion in the clinical sense. Among the emotions that didn't make the final cut were schadenfreude, jealousy, and guilt. However, these concepts weren't entirely discarded. Mann noted that envy could relate to jealousy, and remnants of guilt were incorporated into anxiety's character, giving anxiety some of guilt's psychological baggage. This approach demonstrates the sophisticated psychological foundation underlying the film's emotional architecture. The film's visual and tonal approach was influenced by unexpected sources, most notably the Adam Sandler film Uncut Gems, which served as inspiration for anxiety scenes, particularly the visually intensive moments that convey the overwhelming nature of anxious thoughts. This citation of contemporary cinema shows how the Pixar team drew from diverse sources to create authentic emotional experiences. Initially, the plot centered around a talent show concept, but after approximately 3 test screenings, the creative team decided to focus on Riley's hockey playing instead. This decision was influenced by feedback from Turning Red director Dom Shi, who advised Mann on how to make the film unique among teenage coming-of-age stories. Hawke became not just a backdrop but an integral part of Riley's identity and the film's central conflict. The development phase also involved significant collaboration between story artist Rebecca McPhee and lead editor Marissa Horowitz, who played crucial roles in refining the film's emotional beats. Due to the iterative nature of animated filmmaking, sequences were frequently revised, with entire story segments being cut or reworked. Unlike live-action films where editing primarily occurs after shooting, animation requires continuous interaction between departments throughout production. One of the major technical challenges during development was maintaining consistency in the film's three-dimensional space while working with hand-drawn storyboards. McPhee noted that early in her career, she primarily thought in 2D terms, but working at Pixar required adaptation to a more spatially aware approach. To ensure accuracy, she often created isometric maps of environments to determine camera placement and background visibility. Filming, animation production. As an animated film, Inside Out 2 didn't involve traditional filming but rather an extensive animation production process that began in earnest following the completion of pre-production. The animation phase represented one of the most technically complex aspects of the film's creation, requiring coordination between multiple departments and hundreds of artists working in concert. The film's animation style maintained continuity with the original while incorporating technological advances that had been developed at Pixar over the intervening years. The emotional characters themselves required particular attention, as their designs needed to convey both familiarity for returning emotions and distinct personality for the new additions. Each emotion's animation was carefully calibrated to reflect their psychological function: anxiety's frenetic energy, ennui's languid disinterest, embarrassment's desire to hide, and envy's coveting nature. The technical challenges of animating the film were substantial. The emotional headquarters required expanded design to accommodate the four new emotions, while the broader mindscape of Riley's psyche needed to reflect her adolescent development. This included the creation of new areas like the sense of self-repository and the more complex belief system that drives much of the film's conflict. Character animation for the human characters, particularly Riley herself, required careful attention to reflect her growth from the 11-year-old of the first film to the 13-year-old of the sequel. This involved subtle but significant changes in proportions, movement patterns, and facial structure that would convey maturation without dramatic alteration. The Hawke sequences demanded particular technical expertise, requiring animators to understand both the sports mechanics and how to convey the emotional stakes through physical action. The film's color palette and lighting design played crucial roles in conveying emotional states and story progression. Each emotion's associated color remained consistent with the original film while new emotions required their own distinct color language. Anxiety's orange, envy's cyan, envy's indigo, and embarrassment's pink needed to integrate harmoniously with the established color scheme while maintaining their individual identity. Environmental animation represented another significant challenge, particularly in sequences where the emotions travel through different areas of Riley's mind. These sequences required creating believable physics and spatial relationships while maintaining the fantastical, metaphorical nature of the internal landscape. The avalanche of memories sequence, for example, required complex particle animation and dynamic camera work to convey both physical danger and emotional significance. The iterative nature of animation meant that scenes were constantly being refined based on story needs, voice acting performance, and technical capabilities. Unlike live-action filming where performances are captured in real time, animated performances are built frame by frame, allowing for precise control but requiring extensive planning and coordination. Voice recording sessions with actors were conducted multiple times throughout production, with performances often refined as animation progressed. This back and forth between voice performance and visual animation allowed for a more integrated final product but also required flexible scheduling and extensive coordination between the recording and animation teams. The film's technical achievements extend beyond character animation to include complex lighting, effects animation, and the creation of believable physics within the fantastical mindscape. Each department contributed specialized expertise while maintaining the overall visual and emotional coherence that defines Pixar's house style. Post-production for Inside Out 2 encompassed the comprehensive range of technical and creative processes that transformed the raw animated footage into the polished theatrical release. This phase included editing, sound design, music composition and integration, color correction, and final technical refinements that elevated the film to theatrical standards. The editing process, led by Marissa Horowitz, was particularly complex due to the film's multi-layered narrative structure. The film simultaneously tells the story of Riley's external experiences at hockey camp and the internal emotional drama playing out in her mind. This required careful pacing and intercutting to maintain narrative coherence while building emotional tension in both storylines. Unlike traditional live-action post-production, animated films require continuous collaboration between editorial and animation departments throughout production. Scenes are constantly being refined, which means editorial decisions often influence ongoing animation work rather than simply organizing completed footage. This iterative approach allows for more precise emotional timing but requires extensive coordination and flexibility from all departments. Sound design for Inside Out 2 required creating distinct audio landscapes for different areas of Riley's mind while maintaining consistency with the established sonic vocabulary of the first film. The emotional headquarters needed its own acoustic signature, while different regions of Riley's psyche required unique ambient sounds and acoustic properties. The hockey sequences demanded realistic sports audio while integrating seamlessly with the more fantastical mind-based scenes. The film's sound design also needed to reflect the emotional states of characters, with particular attention paid to how anxiety's presence would affect the audio landscape. This involved creating sound profiles that could convey frantic energy, overwhelming mental noise, and the claustrophobic feeling of panic without becoming unpleasant for audiences. Color correction and final visual refinement were crucial processes that ensured visual consistency throughout the film while optimizing the theatrical viewing experience. This involved balancing the distinct color languages of different emotions while maintaining overall visual harmony. The film's extensive use of color as emotional signifier required precise calibration to ensure effectiveness across different projection systems and viewing environments. Technical quality control represented a significant aspect of post-production, involving frame-by-frame review to identify and correct any visual inconsistencies, technical errors, or artifacts that might have emerged during the animation process. This meticulous attention to detail ensures the polished presentation that audiences expect from Pixar productions. The post-production phase also involved preparing various technical deliverables for different theatrical presentations, including standard digital projection, IMAX, Dolby Cinema, and REL 3D formats. Each format required specific technical considerations and optimizations to ensure optimal presentation quality. Throughout post-production, the film underwent multiple test screenings with audiences to gauge emotional response and identify areas needing refinement. These screenings often resulted in additional editing, sound design modifications, or even small animation adjustments to improve the overall viewing experience. Music. The musical score for Inside Out 2 marked a significant transition in Pixar's musical leadership while maintaining continuity with the emotional themes established in the original film. Andrea Datzman took over composing duties from Michael Giacchino, who had created the memorable score for the first Inside Out. This transition represented not just a change in personnel but a historic milestone, as Datzman became the first woman to compose a score for a Pixar feature film. Datzman's appointment was announced on March 7, 2024, alongside the release of the film's second trailer, signaling the importance Pixar placed on the musical component of the sequel. Having worked previously within the Pixar musical ecosystem, Datzman brought both familiarity with the studio's approach and her own unique musical voice to the project. The challenge of following Michael Giacchino's celebrated original score required careful consideration of thematic continuity while allowing for musical evolution to match Riley's growth and the introduction of new emotions. Datsman needed to honor the musical motifs associated with the original 5 emotions while creating distinct musical identities for anxiety, envy, ennui, and embarrassment. Anxiety's musical representation proved particularly crucial, as this emotion drives much of the sequel's narrative. Datsman's approach to scoring anxiety involved creating musical textures that could convey the overwhelming, spiral-inducing nature of anxious thoughts without becoming genuinely distressing for audiences. This required sophisticated orchestration that could suggest mental chaos while maintaining musical coherence and emotional accessibility. The score's development process involved extensive collaboration with director Kelsey Mann and the editorial team to ensure that musical choices supported the film's emotional storytelling rather than overwhelming it. Given the film's complex emotional landscape, the music needed to enhance rather than compete with the visual and narrative elements. Datsman's orchestral approach maintained the symphonic richness that characterized Giacchino's original while incorporating her own harmonic language and rhythmic sensibilities. The score needed to support both intimate character moments and the film's more spectacular sequences, requiring musical versatility and dynamic range. The integration of original themes with new musical material required careful structural planning. Familiar musical motifs associated with joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust needed to evolve to reflect their characters' development, while new themes for the additional emotions required distinct musical personalities that complemented rather than clashed with the established musical vocabulary. Recording sessions for the score involved full orchestral arrangements performed by professional musicians, maintaining Pixar's commitment to high-quality musical production. The orchestral recording process required precise timing and coordination with the film's final edit to ensure perfect synchronization between musical and visual elements. The soundtrack album was strategically released by Walt Disney Records on June 14, 2024, the same day as the film's theatrical release, allowing audiences to engage with the musical content independently while supporting the film's marketing campaign. This simultaneous release strategy recognized the importance of the musical component in the overall Inside Out 2 experience. Datsman's historic achievement as the first woman to score a Pixar feature represents significant progress in addressing gender representation in film music composition. Her success with Inside Out 2 demonstrates both her individual talent and the importance of creating opportunities for underrepresented voices in film music. The score's reception among critics and audiences has been generally positive, with particular praise for how effectively the music serves the story while establishing Datsman's own musical identity. The balance between honoring the original's musical legacy while creating something distinctly new represents the kind of creative challenge that defines successful sequel scoring. Released theatrical release. Inside Out 2's theatrical release represented a carefully orchestrated campaign designed to maximize both critical reception and commercial success. The film premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on June 10, 2024, providing an exclusive first look for industry professionals, press, and VIP audiences before its wide release. The choice of the El Capitan Theater for the premiere was strategically significant, as this historic venue has strong associations with Disney and provides an elegant setting that reflects the film's quality and importance to the studio. The premiere event featured appearances by key cast and crew members, providing valuable media coverage and building anticipation for the general release. Following the premiere, Inside Out 2 received its wide theatrical release in the United States on June 14, 2024, strategically positioned in the early summer movie season to capture family audiences and avoid direct competition with other major releases. The June release date placed the film in an optimal window for repeat viewings and word-of-mouth marketing during the summer vacation period. The film's theatrical presentation utilized multiple premium formats to enhance the viewing experience and maximize revenue potential. Screenings were available in REL 3D, IMAX, and Dolby Cinema formats, each offering distinct technical advantages. The 3D presentation added depth to the colorful mindscape sequences, while IMAX provided enhanced scale and visual impact. Dolby Cinema offered superior audio quality and dynamic range that could fully showcase Andrea Datzman's orchestral score. The marketing campaign leading to theatrical release was comprehensive and strategically executed. The teaser trailer released on November 9, 2023, generated significant online engagement, being viewed 157 million times in its first 24 hours and becoming the most watched animated film trailer until surpassed by Moana 2 in May 2024. This exceptional trailer performance demonstrated strong audience anticipation and provided valuable metrics for predicting box office success. A strategic clip from the film was showcased during Super Bowl VIP title team, providing exposure to the massive television audience and building mainstream awareness. The Super Bowl placement represented a significant marketing investment but reached audiences who might not typically seek out animated film content. The second trailer, released on March 7, 2024, along with a new poster, provided additional story details and character introductions while maintaining narrative surprises. This trailer marked the debut of the standard variant of the 2023 Walt Disney Pictures logo, connecting the film to Disney's centennial celebration and broader corporate branding strategy. Industry previews played a crucial role in building professional support and critical buzz. The first 35 minutes of the film were screened during Walt Disney Studios' presentation at CinemaCon on April 11, 2024. Allowing theater owners and industry professionals to assess the film's commercial potential and plan their marketing strategies accordingly. The film also screened at the 2024 Annecy International Animation Film Festival, providing exposure to animation industry professionals and critics who specialize in the medium. This festival screening helped establish the film's artistic credentials within the animation community. An innovative marketing partnership with Airbnb featured a rental property in Nevada modeled after the film's headquarters, listed on the platform beginning June 12, 2024. This unique promotional strategy provided fans with an immersive experience while generating media coverage and social media engagement. The theatrical release strategy proved remarkably successful, with the film exceeding initial projections and demonstrating strong audience demand. The multiple format options allowed theaters to maximize revenue per screening while providing audiences with choice in their viewing experience. Home media release. The home media release strategy for Inside Out 2 followed Disney's established pattern while adapting to current market conditions and consumer preferences. Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment orchestrated a multi-format release designed to capture different segments of the home entertainment market while maximizing revenue from the film's success. The digital download release came first, launching on August 20, 2024, approximately 2 months after the theatrical debut. This timeline allowed for substantial theatrical revenue while meeting consumer demand for home viewing options. The digital release provided immediate accessibility for audiences who preferred streaming or downloading content while supporting various digital platforms and devices. Physical media formats followed on September 10, 2024, including 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, Standard Blu-ray, and DVD options. This multi-format approach recognized the diverse preferences and technical capabilities of home entertainment consumers. The 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray provided the highest quality home viewing experience, particularly important for a visually rich animated film like Inside Out 2. The physical media releases included substantial bonus content designed to add value and appeal to collectors and animation enthusiasts. Behind-the-scenes featurettes provided insights into the film's creation process, while deleted scenes with introductions by director Kelsey Mann offered glimpse into the creative process and alternative story directions that didn't make the final cut. The bonus features served multiple purposes beyond entertainment value. They provided educational content about animation and filmmaking while building deeper audience engagement with the property. For aspiring animators and filmmakers, these features offered valuable insights into professional production processes and creative decision-making. The Disney Plus streaming release followed on September 25, 2024, providing broad accessibility for Disney's subscription service users. This streaming release represented the film's entry into the platform's permanent library, allowing for repeated viewings and discovery by new audiences over time. The timing of the Disney Plus release balanced several considerations. It needed to allow sufficient time for physical media sales while providing streaming access before audience interest waned. The September release timing also positioned the film for potential award season consideration and holiday viewing. The home media release strategy supported ongoing revenue generation from the theatrical success while building the foundation for potential franchise expansion. Home viewing allows for the detailed analysis and repeated engagement that often drives fan community development and long-term property value. Marketing for the home media release emphasized the bonus content and superior home viewing experience while building on this film's theatrical success and critical reception. This approach recognized that home media consumers often seek added value beyond the basic viewing experience. The multi-platform approach ensured broad accessibility while respecting different consumer preferences and technological capabilities. From digital rental to premium physical media to subscription streaming, the release strategy provided multiple pathways for audience engagement. Reception box office performance. Inside Out 2's box office performance represents one of the most remarkable success stories in recent animation history, breaking multiple records and exceeding all industry expectations. The film's commercial achievement validates both the strength of the Inside Out property and the continued audience appetite for high-quality animated storytelling. Initial industry projections were notably conservative, with estimates suggesting an opening weekend gross of $80–90 million domestically. These modest projections reflected several industry concerns: audience hesitancy to return to theaters following the pandemic, the disappointing theatrical performance of recent Pixar releases like Lightyear, and the general underperformance of several 2024 releases. The decision to release Soul, Luca, and Turning Red directly to Disney Plus had also raised questions about audience commitment to theatrical Pixar experiences. However, these projections proved dramatically underestimated. After earning $63.6 million on its opening day, including an estimated $13 million from Thursday night previews, weekend projections were rapidly revised upward to $140–150 million. The film ultimately grossed $154.2 million domestically during its opening weekend, making it the first film of 2024 to open above $100 million and surpassing both Dune, Part 2, $82.5 million, and Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, $80 million, as the year's biggest opening. The international performance was equally impressive, with an estimated $140 million from 38 international markets contributing to a worldwide opening weekend total of $294.2 million. This global debut represented the highest in Pixar's history, demonstrating the universal appeal of the film's emotional themes and characters. The domestic opening weekend achievement placed Inside Out 2 as the third best opening for an animated film, trailing only Pixar's Incredibles 2. $182.7 million, and Disney's The Lion King remake, $191.7 million. It also ranked as the fourth best opening for a PG-rated film, highlighting its broad family appeal. Demographic analysis of the opening weekend audience revealed interesting patterns. The film attracted significant walk-up business, with 36% of the audience identifying as Hispanic and Latino, demonstrating its multicultural appeal. The viewing patterns showed strong performance throughout the day, with 22% of viewers attending before 1 p.m., 35% between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., 26% between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., and 17% after 8 p.m. Premium format performance was exceptionally strong, with IMAX and premium large formats accounting for 43% of earnings despite representing a smaller number of screens. Additionally, 14% of revenue came from 3D showings, indicating audience willingness to pay premium prices for enhanced viewing experiences. The film's weekday performance following the opening weekend demonstrated exceptional staying power. It achieved multiple daily records, including the second highest grossing first Monday for a Pixar film, $22.4 million, the highest-grossing first Tuesday for an animated film, $28.8 million, and the highest-grossing first Thursday for a Pixar film, $19.6 million. A particularly noteworthy achievement came on June 18, when the film earned $30.1 million, setting a record for the federal holiday since its establishment in 2021. This performance was third highest for any non-opening Wednesday, trailing only Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The second weekend performance proved equally impressive, with a gross of $101.2 million representing only a 34.4% drop from the opening weekend. This exceptional hold made it the most profitable second weekend for an animated film, surpassing the Super Mario Bros. Movie's $92.3 million. Industry analysts attributed this performance partly to heat waves and rainstorms that drove audiences to air-conditioned theaters during its third weekend. Inside Out 2 remained at the top of the box office with $57.5 million, successfully competing against newcomer A Quiet Place. Day 1, the film crossed $500 million domestically on July 4 and during its fourth weekend earned $30.3 million, finishing second behind Despicable Me 4. International milestones came rapidly. On June 27, 2024, after just 16 days of release, the film surpassed its predecessor's total gross of $858.8 million. 3 days later, on June 30, it crossed the $1 billion threshold, becoming the first Disney animated film to reach this milestone since Frozen 2 in 2019. The film equaled The Lion King's record as the fastest animated film to cross $1 billion. Achieving this milestone in just 19 days. On July 10, 2024, it surpassed Incredibles 2's global total of $1.242 billion to become the highest-grossing Pixar film of all time. Regional records fell throughout the international release. The film became the highest-grossing film in Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay, demonstrating particular strength in Latin American markets. On July 28, 2024, it surpassed Incredibles 2 as the highest domestic-grossing animated film of all time. The film reached another historic milestone on August 25, 2024, becoming only the second animated film to gross $1 billion internationally. Finally, on September 1, 2024, Inside Out 2 surpassed The Lion King to become the highest-grossing animated film of all time and the highest-grossing film released under the Walt Disney Pictures label, with the final worldwide gross of $1.699 billion, $653 million domestic, $1.046 billion international. Inside Out 2 became the 8th highest-grossing film of all time at the point of its release and secured its position as 2024's highest-grossing film. The film maintained its status as the highest-grossing animated film until February 2025, when it was surpassed by the Chinese animated film Ne Zha 2, though it remains the highest-grossing American-produced animated film. This remarkable box office performance represented more than just commercial success. It demonstrated the continued viability of theatrical animation and the power of emotionally intelligent storytelling to connect with global audiences across cultural boundaries. Critical response. Inside Out 2 received overwhelmingly positive critical reception, with reviewers praising its emotional intelligence, visual artistry, and successful expansion of the original film's psychological concepts. The critical consensus recognized the film as a worthy successor that managed to recapture the magic of its predecessor while exploring new emotional territory appropriate to adolescent development. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film achieved a 91% approval rating based on 318 critic reviews, with an average rating of 7.6. The website's critical consensus read, "Spicing things up with the wrinkle of teen angst, Inside Out 2 clears the head and warms the heart by living up to its predecessor's emotional intelligence." This strong critical approval indicated broad professional recognition of the film's artistic and narrative achievements. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average scoring system, assigned the film a score of 73 out of 100 based on 59 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. This score, while strong, reflected some critical reservations about certain aspects of the film while acknowledging its overall success. Audience response metrics were equally positive. Cinema Score surveys gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale, matching the original film's audience score. Post-track surveys provided an average of 4.5 out of 5 stars, with 71% of respondents indicating they would definitely recommend the film. These audience metrics suggested strong satisfaction and word-of-mouth potential. Critics particularly praised the film's handling of adolescent psychology and the introduction of new emotions. Moira MacDonald of the Seattle Times awarded the film 3.5 stars out of 4, commending the voice cast and describing the film as a happy head trip for any age. Her review highlighted the film's universal appeal despite its focus on teenage emotional development. Robbie Cullen of the Daily Telegraph gave the film 4 stars out of 5, praising the animation, metaphors, and wit while noting that the cast-iron ontological brilliance of Doctor's original premise bears expansion well. This observation recognized both the strength of the original concept and the skill with which the sequel expanded upon it. Owen Gleiberman of Variety offered particular praise for Maya Hawke's performance as anxiety and the film's emotional impact, calling it the most poignantly perceptive tale of the conundrums of early adolescence since 8th grade. This comparison to Bo Burnham's critically acclaimed coming-of-age film indicated the level of emotional authenticity critics found in the sequel. Manohla Dargis in the New York Times praised Pixar's skill for turning ideas into images, some of which actually managed to slip past the safety of its nice worldview with shocks of the sublime. This review recognized the film's ability to find visual expression for complex psychological concepts while acknowledging Pixar's general tendency toward optimistic messaging. However, critical reception was not universally positive. Some critics found the film less innovative than its predecessor or criticized certain structural elements. Siddhant Lakha of IGN found the film surprising and disappointing in equal measure, suggesting that while the film had successful elements, it failed to fully live up to expectations. David Ehrlich of IndieWire provided one of the most negative major reviews, giving the film a C rating and writing that the film so perfectly ticks Pixar's boxes in a way that forces the sincerity of its storytelling into a losing battle with the cynicism of its existence. This criticism suggested that the sequel felt formulaic rather than genuinely inspired. Several critics unfavorably compared Inside Out 2 to its predecessor, with Cindy White of Avenue Club among those who felt the sequel didn't match the original's innovation. These comparisons highlighted the challenge facing any sequel to a beloved and groundbreaking original work. The new emotions received varied critical attention. Anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke, attracted the most critical focus, with reviewers like Alison Wilmore in Vulture and Jordan Hoffman for Entertainment Weekly praising the character's development and relevance to contemporary teenage experience. Inui, voiced by Adèle Exarchopoulos, received particular praise from critics including Peter Bradshaw in The Guardian and Dodie Henderson in the Boston Globe. Critics appreciated the character's sophisticated representation of teenage emotional complexity and Exarchopoulos' nuanced voice performance. Some critics analyzed the film's broader cultural implications. Justin Chang of NPR examined the nostalgia elements within the film while criticizing certain retro sequences based on cartoon imagery. This kind of analysis indicated critical engagement with the film's deeper thematic content beyond surface entertainment value. Robert Daniels, writing for RogerRabbit.com, provided thoughtful analysis of how the film used anxiety to transform Riley into a more complex character while allowing joy and other emotions to navigate her evolving mind. Daniels noted that the new emotions, while effective, were not as immediately memorable as the original 5, suggesting successful integration without overshadowing established characters. However, not all critics were impressed by the overall package. Damon Wise of Deadline was notably negative, concluding, "Battle-weary parents of surly teens will have some fun here and there, especially when Ennui's Bloss tilde copyright influence opens up a sarcasm in Riley's brain that makes everything sound, well, sarcastic. But, when all's said and done, the stakes are so minor, It's hard to imagine anyone will leave this desperate to see an Inside Out 3. Despite some critical reservations, the overall critical reception demonstrated professional recognition of Inside Out 2 as a successful sequel that honored its predecessor while expanding the emotional universe in meaningful ways. Critics generally acknowledged the film's technical excellence, voice acting quality, and emotional authenticity, even when noting structural or creative limitations. The critical response ultimately supported the film's commercial success by providing professional validation for audiences considering theater visits. The strong critical consensus helped establish Inside Out 2 as a quality family film worth theatrical viewing, contributing to its exceptional box office performance and cultural impact. Awards and recognition. Inside Out 2's critical and commercial success translated into significant recognition within the film industry, though its awards journey proved more complex than its box office dominance might have suggested. The film received nominations from major industry organizations while competing in an exceptionally strong year for animated features. The film received nominations for Best Animated Feature at several prestigious ceremonies, including the Golden Globe Awards, Critics' Choice Movie Awards, BAFTA Awards, and Academy Awards. However, despite its commercial success and general critical acclaim, Inside Out 2 did not win any of these major animated feature awards. At the Golden Globe Awards, Inside Out 2 lost the Best Animated Feature award to Flow, a Latvian animated film that impressed critics with its innovative storytelling and unique visual approach. This outcome demonstrated that commercial success and popular appeal don't automatically translate to awards recognition, particularly in categories where artistic innovation and originality are highly valued. The Critics' Choice Movie Awards saw Inside Out 2 lose to The Wild Robot, another acclaimed animated feature that combined emotional storytelling with impressive visual artistry. This loss highlighted the strength of animated features in 2024 and the difficulty of standing out in a competitive field. The BAFTA Awards represented another disappointment for Inside Out 2, as it lost to Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. This outcome was particularly notable given BAFTA's British focus and the Wallace and Gromit franchise's cultural significance in the UK. The loss suggested that nostalgia and cultural relevance played significant roles in voting decisions. Most significantly, Inside Out 2 failed to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, losing to Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. This outcome was surprising to many industry observers given Inside Out 2's exceptional commercial performance and generally positive critical reception. The Academy's choice reflected the voting body's preference for what might be considered more innovative or culturally significant animated works. However, Inside Out 2 did receive recognition. Review.1 Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2 returns to the mind of newly minted teenager Riley just as headquarters is undergoing a sudden demolition to make room for something entirely unexpected: new emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear and disgust, who've long been running a successful operation by all accounts, aren't sure how to feel when anxiety shows up. And it looks like she's not alone. Review.2 After becoming the envy of its peers with an astonishing, record-breaking $295 million opening weekend, Inside Out 2 is continuing to bring Pixar box office joy in a big way. In only its third weekend since release, the studio's sequel to Pete Docter's emotional 2015 animation Inside Out took $108 million at the international box office, taking the film's worldwide total past the coveted $1 billion. Not only does that make Kelsey Mann's movie the first billion-dollar grossing picture of 2024, but it also sees Inside Out 2 blaze past Frozen 2 to become the fastest animated feature to hit that milestone, accomplishing in just 19 days what took Olaf and Co 25 days previously. Inside Out 2, which continues to explore the inner workings of a now teenage Riley's, Kensington Almond, mind as she hits puberty, may still have a way to go yet to dethrone Frozen 2's dizzying $1.453 billion skim and become the all-time highest-grossing animation. But in a post-COVID cinematic landscape, and following something of an early summer blockbuster washout with underwhelming box office performances for the likes of Furiosa and The Fall Guy, the success of Pixar's latest effort, only the 11th or 12th if you count 2019's The Lion King, animated movie in history to break $1 billion. It can't be underestimated, as well as Inside Out 2's ennui-busting box office heroics, a strong $99 million opening weekend showing for A Quiet Place, Day One, A Michael Sarnowski's Pig, Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o starring Alien Invasion prequel saw the sci-fi franchise earn its biggest domestic and international debut to date. And with Despicable Me 4, Deadpool Wolverine, and Twisters all still to come, the timing is ripe for a summer blockbuster box office heatwave. Long live the theatrical experience. Just so you know, we may receive a commission or other compensation from the links on this website. Read Why You Should Trust Us Review. 3 Pixar's 2015 instant classic, Inside Out, was the best possible psychological starter kit for curious kids. The movie was groundbreaking in its inventive way of showing children the complex workings of their minds, framed as a hair-raising adventure, while also making the tour into the subconscious both hilarious and deeply affecting for adults. What are the odds that a sequel almost a decade later and by a mostly new creative team could recapture its canonical predecessor's magic and humanity? But graduating from childhood into the emotional minefield of early adolescence might even have improved upon it. Veteran Pixar storyboard artist Kelsey Mann hits a home run with his first feature, working from a screenplay by Meg LeFauve, the key holdover from Inside Out, and Dave Holstein that ingeniously personifies the tornado of conflicting feelings wreaking havoc inside the head of 13-year-old Riley Kensington Tallman. Release date, Friday, June 14th. Cast, Amy Poehler, Maya Hawke, Kensington Tallman, Liza Lapira, Tony Hale, Lewis Black, Phyllis Smith, Ayo Edebiri, Adèle Exarchopoulos, Diane Lane, Kyle MacLachlan, Paul Walter Hauser. Director, Kelsey Mann. Screenwriters, Meg LeFauve, Dave Holstein. Rated PG, 1 hour 37 minutes. Whereas many sequels bulk up on principal characters simply because the laws of the follow-up demand it, the script here follows the sound logic that the relatively simple core emotions of childhood would suddenly be jostling for space with a whole new set of volatile feelings and confused impulses when adolescence hits. It's the balance of basic psychology with abstract concepts and inspired observational comedy that makes this a uniquely captivating coming-of-age tale. Riley has come through her tween years as a kind, well-adjusted kid who loves her supportive parents, Diane Lane and Kyle MacLachlan, back again, and her best friends Grace Liu, and Bree, Sue Minurin Green. She works hard in school and plays hard on the ice hockey rink. Her obsession with that sport, dating back to her early childhood in Minnesota, prompts some exciting opening action as Riley ricochets from desolation to triumph in the closing stretch of a game. Inside headquarters, Joy, Amy Poehler, mans the emotion console with unflagging enthusiasm and occasional input from her cohorts: fear, Tony Hale, anger, Lewis Black, disgust, Liza Lapira, and sadness, Phyllis Smith, whose essential coexistence with happiness was the moving takeaway of the first film. This is a team that knows its job, retiring to bed each night with the satisfaction of having nurtured Riley's healthy sense of self and shaped her belief system. But their peaceful slumber is broken by the piercing sound of the console's puberty alarm going off in the middle of the night. Suddenly, a maintenance crew descends for demolition day, gutting HQ and upgrading the console for a more sophisticated model, built to manage the hormonal roller coaster of adolescence. At the same time, Riley wakes up with a zit and a temper, while Joy Company find that even the gentlest touch of a button on the new console yields a wild overreaction. As Riley sets off for an all-important hockey camp that will determine whether she makes the hotshot high school team, the Firehawks, a newly evolved emotion takes control. And what more fitting emotion for a young teenager in 2024 than anxiety, a jittery figure that looks like a Looney Tunes character put through a laundry wringer, all teeth and bug eyes, crowned by a tuft of messy orange plumage and voiced by Maya Hawke with nervous energy to burn. Also new to HQ are pint-sized envy, Ayo Edebiri, primed to kick in with every social comparison mortifyingly outsize embarrassment, Paul Walter Hauser, forever trying to disappear inside his hoodie, and most divinely, Inui, a droopy manifestation of teenage apathy who seldom stirs from the couch where she operates the console remotely. Naturally, she's French, voiced by Adèle Exarchopoulos with sublime languor, nailing the humor and eye-roll accompanying comments like, "You care too much about things." Once anxiety has put herself in charge, Riley starts sacrificing intrinsic values like loyalty to make way for competitiveness, turning her back on Grace and Bree in a determined bid to get in with the cool clique of Firehawks players, led by Rink star Valentina Lillimer. In a refreshing departure from the usual teen movie mean girl depiction, these young women are a welcoming multicultural crew that actively encourage Riley, even if anxiety ensures that she's ruled by her worst instincts. The real conflict emerges when anxiety exiles Joy and her childhood cohorts to the vault, a subterranean storage unit for suppressed emotions where they make amusing new allies. It falls to sadness, a perpetual Debbie Downer burdened by gloom and insecurity, to make it back to HQ and stop anxiety before Riley's sense of self is destroyed. Just as the first film was peppered with funny set pieces visualizing complex thought processes in hairy situations, Inside Out 2 mines humor and suspense from such elements as the stream of consciousness or brainstorm sarcasm, literally a sarcasm that threatens to swallow Joy and friends, imagination and office staffers busily ordering up anxiety's worst-case scenarios and the parade of future careers, which allows the outcasts to hitch a ride on a Supreme Court justice float. Among my favorite jokes was the repeat appearance of Nostalgia, June Squibb, a sweet old dear carrying a cup of tea who's sternly hurried out the door with cries of, "Too early." Even if some of this once again will fly over the heads of the youngest audience members, the thrill ride of Joy Company facing endless setbacks while trying to stop out-of-control anxiety is amply compelling even without the psychological framework. The story beats, action sequences and sentimental moments say Joy's despair when she's out of ideas is quite touching. They are expertly fine-tuned, and the dazzling visuals no less so. The colors seem even more vibrant than before and the characters more expressive, both in the external world and in the labyrinthine inner workings of Riley's mind. The spirited score by Andrea Dantzman makes everything pop even more. As unlikely an inspiration as it might seem, it makes sense that Mann has acknowledged a debt to the Safdie brothers' uncut gems in the breathless pacing and escalating tension. Returning cast Bowler, Black and the wonderful Smith do stellar voice work, conforming to their characters' guiding principles but also bending to accommodate other emotions. Hale and Lapira Ailey step in for Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling as Fear and Disgust, respectively. Disgust/fluttering flirtation with hunky video game hero Lance/Blade, Young is delicious. Hawke is an excellent addition, making a worthy antagonist who takes over with the diplomacy of a Bolshevik but ultimately proves no less susceptible to pressure than the rest of them. I could have taken more of the always superb Beery, but Hauser's embarrassment, though he's given few words, is adorable. A hulking great Snuffleupagus-adjacent creature whose pink hue gets even pinker when he blushes. And Exarchopoulos positively Hupper Shannon might be the funniest Pixar embodiment of haughty disdain since Edna Mode. The message of Inside Out 2 is as universal and good-hearted as that of its predecessor. You might not know from one minute to the next what emotion is driving a teenage mind, but every messy part of the mechanism has both function and beauty. Be sure to sit tight at the end for a cute post-credits gag that nails the propensity of the young to blow things out of proportion.